Good morning, everybody. I am Olivia O'Connor, and today I am here to show you some very simple whistle carving. We're going to be carving these from a little stick or twig. If you've got a piece of dowel, that will work as well. And then once we've made our whistles, we will be turning them into little carved birds, like this very technical and highly detailed drawing I have for you. Like always, I am in regional Victoria, and as you can see, it is a little chilly today, but if the internet does go out, I will just end this live stream and restart another one, and it will probably take about 2 minutes to get that set up. So if the internet does cut out on us, please just be patient with that. And also this picture here of the bird, that will be the little bird we're carving into our whistle. At the end, that is available on my website. Right at the bottom of the classes page is where you'll find all those downloadable PDFs. Okay, so to make a little whistle from a stick, they are quite fun too. First of all, we need a stick. I have an assortment here. This is the one I want to use. The rest are all in case something goes wrong with number one, but I thought I'd show you what we don't want. So this is a stick we don't want. You can see we've got the bark folding in. We've got a little bit of, can you see that? A little bit of cracking and splitting. That was right when I cut that. So it's very green. It was already cracked and split. So that is a stick we don't want. It's just going to be a little bit harder to predict what's inside something like that versus something like this. You can see that's just much cleaner all the way around. We've got less blemishes. When I've sawn the end off, is it going to focus? When I've sawn the end off, it's nice and flat, nice and tight grain there. And because we're carving little birds, we're going to take advantage of all the little twigs, and we'll be using this one here for a beak. So if I get my little template, sort of line it up, the beak will come out like that. You also want your stick to be about 1 inch wide, give or take. I am going to flip you down so you can see what I'm working on. All right, here we go. Oh, thanks to Roderick and Simone for saying hello. That's really nice of you. You know how much I appreciate it when I know I'm not just talking into the never, never land of the internet. Thank you, guys. Hope you're having a good weekend so far. So I don't want this little twig. This is a sacrificial piece of timber that I'm just going to be carving down, cutting and carving down into so I don't ruin my bench. So just get a little handsaw. Just cutting off what I don't want. Now, because it's a beak, it doesn't need to be very long at all. Excuse me. Now, if I go back to my template, we don't want it to actually extend. The head doesn't extend much. See, it doesn't extend much past the beak. So I'll cut it off here. And then I want, how long is that? Between 4 and 5 inches, I'd say, of space, because we don't want the carving of our bird to interrupt with our whistle. Now, if anyone has any questions as we go along, please do put them in the chat. Hopefully I'll see them and answer them for you. Hi, Sean. Thanks for saying hello. Roll this around, cut from the other side. Waste. Small little line. Now, just whilst I'm sawing, I'll just show you, this is my filthy version of a little Japanese pull saw. They're a pull saw because the teeth go in that direction, so it cuts on the pull. These are a fantastic little saw. This one is due for a new blade, and what's great about them is the blade snaps in and out, and you can just put a new blade in and you keep your old handle. So now we have this shape here. We've got whistle section, bird section, and this will be his little beak. I've left that probably a lot longer than I need to at the moment, but just for ease and safety. Oh my goodness, I've got people from the UK tuning in. It's not your morning, but thank you very much. Much appreciated. So once we've got this, in order to make our whistle, here's my existing one. So we've got a hole drilled in the end with some angles cut and a piece of dowel going in. So nothing about this is an exact science. Take your pencil, mark the rough center. You can see it's basically where the growth rings are. Into the vise. Whoops, is that straight? Not quite. You want that straight up and down. And then I want to drill in, got my drill. This is a 3mm drill bit. I'm just shortening that so we've got only about 1 inch of that drill bit. You see that sticking out of there? And I am just going to come here and go straight down. If you use a thinner piece of stick, by the time we drill our second hole, you won't have enough wall around it for it to work well, and you can sort of split out, as I can attest from my practice whistle. So now I've got a 9.5 millimeter drill bit. I'm going to come in, try go about 1 inch as well, nice and slowly. This is all pretty inexact. I'll use my pencil just to, nope, need to go a little bit deeper there. Sorry. It's a poor camera setup today, I'm afraid. Sorry about that, everybody. One of these months we will get through without a technical difficulty, I promise. But it wasn't today. Today I spent nearly an hour trying to get the 2 cameras to set up. And at 10:20, I just had to decide, whilst it all worked perfectly yesterday, it was not going to work today. Now I'm just going to measure very loosely how deep that hole goes through. So pencil in, use my thumbnail to block it off, do that. So I know my hole is about that deep, very roughly. Now we've got a question. Hi, Roderick. Olivia, I missed the very beginning. That wood appears to be quite green. Is that correct? And how do you prevent cracking? Yes, this wood is quite green. And I didn't even talk about that. So thanks for reminding me there, Roderick. It is silver wattle. It's probably been off the tree for about a month, maybe. And to prevent cracking, you can, once you've made your whistle, you could oil it up. But in all honesty, I'm not that fussed because these are so quick and easy. And they're sort of just like a little toy. I'm not really super fussed by cracking in these ones. So now we've got our hole in the rough center. This is where we have to concentrate. I'm just going to extend that line around. Now hold it. You want your beak probably pointing up. Doesn't super matter, but it is kind of nice. So I'm going to hold that roughly up. I'm going to take my saw and approximately 1 centimeter along. This is all very approximate today, guys. I'm just going to saw straight down. you see that? You can see through the hole that that saw blade is roughly halfway down the height or the depth of the hole I've drilled. And that's what we want. So then you've got a cut like that. Next, we want to keep that beak up. At an approximate 45 degrees, I'm going to cut from here into that. Again, because it's a pull saw, you can see all the force I'm using is on the pull cut. Let's stand this upright. Of course, when you do it by yourself, everything works perfectly. And as soon as you try and broadcast it on the internet, you can't get a good grip. Now, I've made a mistake, but that's probably really good for you all to see. In this angle through here, I've not exposed any of that hole, and I definitely should have exposed quite a lot of that. So I'm going to come in again, this time a bit steeper. That's much better. You see we've got some of that hole. That's like the penciling. You can see we can see that hole through there. So that's much more what we want. Now, I'm not very mathematical or very musical. So it is really just trial and error for me with the dowel. So first up, we want to test if your dowel is going to be, so that's quite a tight fit. I have another, 9.5 millimeter dowel. My goodness, I'm forgetting everything today. Try another piece. Way too tight. Now that's such a tight fit in there. I'm actually going to change drill bits and just put in a 10 millimeter. I found sometimes I need to, sometimes I don't. And I am just widening that hole ever so slightly. Yep, now my dowel goes in and out a lot easier. So next step, grab your sharp knife and your 9.5 millimeter dowel, and I am just gonna cut down into that waste plank there. See that? I've got a flat edge on the top of that dowel. And you want to put that into that hole with your flat edge facing up. And it will come roughly to where your V section is. Now I'm going to cut off a large chunk of this, because now comes the part where you have to fiddle around with it. And I do hope that this whistle works. I found about 10% of the whistles I made, I just must have got the angles wrong and they just do not behave at all. I'll just tilt you guys up. Hello. So you just want to, so you got your flat edge up, slide it in, and that's terrible. Just test. You hear we're getting the slightest bit of noise. Might try a little bit further. Got that stuck, so let's put that in the vise. This is why I had a lot of extra twigs, because we might end up, this whistle may not behave. You hear that? I hope you can hear that because it is whistling. Make quite a high-pitched whistle, so that's fun. Take your pencil, mark around there so you know where it is. And also, I'm going to mark a line up here and a line. See those two lines? Oh, thank you, Simone. I'm so glad you could hear it. If you were musical or mathematical, you'd probably be able to figure out like perfect angles to get really lovely sounds. But like I said, I am neither of those things. I've just got here a little bit of glue. You can see it's much used, this bottle. It's quite comical, the tiny amount I'm going to be getting out of something so big. Just got a dab there. Now I'm just going to put a bit extra, the tiniest scrape just on the underside of that. There. Line up my notches. It's right about now that I'm thinking a pair of pliers would have been a really good thing on the tool list. So that's lined up. I'll give that a shot. Terrible. Well, you were all really learning the ways in which a whistle does not work today. Still got a little bit of glue left on the inside. No. Sorry, everyone. This is probably incredibly boring viewing. Watching as somebody tries to make a whistle that once worked work again. All right, let's give it another shot. Do a better job of marking your grey lead lines than I clearly have. We are getting closer. All right, there we go. We've got it. Thank you for your patience. I need to take it out. I've clogged it up. Let's try that. Let's try cleaning that whole section out again. And the little dags I've got there, I might try just carefully scraping those off with my knife. Oh, thank you, Simone. The embarrassing thing is this is the hardest whistle I've ever made. All the practices worked much better, except for one that just for some reason made no noise at all. But I'm sure it means when you all go and make your own whistles, you'll just feel incredibly professional. Thank you very much to Nathaniel for saying clean, just to clean it out. It's working much better. Thank you. And coincidentally, it's lining up with those original pencil marks, so that's great. Now, saw the end sorry, everyone, I've got to tip you down. We've got another question. What is it that's making whistle? Is it just the size of the hole? It's where the air, so the whistle is, it's the size of that gap where the air kind of escapes. And I'm not sure why, but this is very important that this bit here is at 45 degrees. Somebody who knows whistles much better might help you out in the comments. Oh, well, hello, Lily. And I think you definitely do deserve a whistle for Christmas. You've saved the day here. So I think you are getting a whistle for Christmas. So now that we have a functional whistle, I'm glad that we do finally, because I did bring all these extra bits just in case first attempt wasn't going to behave. Now we have a functional whistle. We're going to go back to our little bird template. And again, that is on my website, right down the bottom of the classes page, so oliviaoconnor.com.au. And I'll just say this now, if the internet cuts out, please hang around. It'll take me like 2 minutes and I'll start up part 2 of this same live stream. Just in regional Victoria, we often have very touch and go, patchy internet. So in creating this little fellow into this stick, straight away, that twig for the beak, far too large. So I'm just going to saw that off a bit. And then I'm going to sort of think I need to round, I need to round my head out. We're making a very skinny bird. Bit of chest here. Then his tail will come down like that. Now it's really important. I've left a large chunk between the end of my hole and the bird. If you start carving sort of this area of the bird and you end up hitting parts of your hole here, it won't work as a whistle anymore. I know that from experience. Okay, so I'm just using a Mora carving knife today, nice and sharp. And I'm just going to be cutting away from myself. I've got quite a steady grip and into this sacrificial piece of timber here. So right now I'm sort of rounding off the top of the head. At this point, I just like to tell you all, I'm not a green woodworker. There are some brilliant green woodworkers out there who are much more practiced at this style of work than I am. But we can still have fun with it. So you can see I'm always cutting away from myself. Just working my way around the top of this stick here. So we're starting to get a bit of a shapely head for our bird here. Now that we've got that much, this is the point where I like to use my other skills and perhaps cheat a bit in the whittling world. But those of you who have watched a few of my live streams will know that I love my saw rasp. So I'm just going to anchor that there and drag that against the teeth and really quickly create, like, round off the very top of that head where I was hitting into end grain, and it was going to become a little bit trickier. And I'm actually going to save carving the beak till last because that can get quite sharp. So you can see not much effort at all, and that's rounding out quite nicely. You don't have to use green wood for this. You could use a piece of dowel. You could use something that's been like just a kiln-dried block of wood. I have seen some people do exactly that same principle, but into a rectangular piece. Just really shaping out the top of his head there. He's wearing a little hat at the moment. And I'm always going to be comparing it to that sketch I have here. So I really need to hollow out a bit under his beak. I think I actually need to take a bit hole off the back of his head there, just purely so his body can be wider than his head. And that'll come around like that. So all the bits that I can just sort of work away from myself, like this, will. So now taking away the back of his head there. I've just seen someone's commented it will be the air pressure vibrating against the wood producing the sound. Thank you, Shenlon, for correcting me and explaining how it works. But you can definitely try around with like bigger, when we sort of take the flat section off the dowel, I've noticed larger, deeper sections removed create slightly different sounds. So you can really experiment and have a play with that. Now I've removed a bit from the back of his head. I'm going to try and move the bit from under his beak here. So that's his beak. I'll be taking this section away. Now I want to cut forward like this. You can see I'm quite at risk of, if I slip, cutting myself. So I'm going to introduce you all to day 2. This is a carver's glove or a carving glove. It has Kevlar like knitted into it, and it is great and very flexible protection. So you always aim for not cutting yourself, but sometimes it helps to have a little protection as you go along. Oh, thank you. Some of you are looking at my rocking horses. That's cool. They definitely keep me busy. Very, very different style of carving to these little guys here. That's for sure. And is now the time to tell you that I've only made ugly birds in my practice ones so far. I made them all a bit too skinny. So you're joining me on this definite experiment to see if we can make a somewhat cute bird. Hopefully it'll look a little like my picture. Just clearing that out. See, we're starting to get a definite dip below there. I still want to round out this section of his head here. You can see I'm using my left hand to help push. I've got the beak hooked on the back of that block of wood there, and I'm using my left thumb to help push that blade in quite a steady fashion. I feel like I should say, whilst these whistles are great for kids, and I think definitely the early stages are fun for them to join in, I think this is very much an adult step. So we sort of get a sharp knife and hack it into a stick. We're getting some shape on that bird there. Now I'm going to swap over to my saw rasp. You all know how much I love that. Going to cut in the back of his head there. All the whittlers out there are probably yelling at their computer screens. They can't believe someone's using a rasp like this. But I would say if it works and you get the result, go for it. Cool, so now we're getting some nice shape around the back of his head. I am just going to slice some of this bark off here. Working away from myself. Always think when you're working like this, if you were to slip, is there any chance of you catching your fingers in the way? So right now, if I was to slip, I'm just going to rip off the side of his face and go into that. Whereas if I was carving him like this and slipped, it could be quite disastrous. Twist that out. We're getting somewhere, aren't we? Oh, Simone, you've never... I think you're a rasp convert as well, like me, aren't you? They are brilliant tools, the saw rasps, and they are so adaptable. And I feel like a lot of carvers kind of really overlook rasp use in general, I'd say. I don't know why, because at the end of the day, it is just lots of tiny, tiny blades removing timber. So now I'm getting a bit of shape there. I really need to start concentrating on having his body a little more shapely. So I'll go back to my pattern. Again, I'm trying to avoid that hole where it comes up to about here. Curve that around. So, I hope you can see that just maybe. I'm going to remove this section here. I'm going to hold him up and I'm just going to cut. I don't want to put him in the vise now that I've got thinner walls here. I might injure him. I might be able to hook him in here like this. So I've cut through there, and now let's see if I can make him, might open this slightly. Sometimes I find holding your work can be the biggest challenge when you're carving essentially in the round, which is on all sides of your piece. Back the other way. Let's hope these all meet up. Everyone cross your fingers, please. It's wobbling. We're getting close. Someone said they've just watched my fingers and knuckles when using the rasp that way. Don't ask how I know that. Once I ran a rasp across the back of my hand. Never again will I do that. So now I've got this shape cut out there, which is this section of our bird, removes him from where he's sitting on top of the whistle. Hold my rasp down, and I'm just going to round these edges. I was using the fine side. That's why it's going so slow. Let's spin him over, use the rough side. Shape is coming along. Just going to work away from myself with that knife. For seasoned green woodworkers, there is a lot of cuts they can actually do where you work towards yourself and it's incredibly safe. I, however, am not going to show you those because I am not adequately skilled, I think, to be promoting that sort of work. It's not the way I work. I very rarely touch green wood. I very rarely carve with a knife. So we're all learning here together today. Here we go. It's look a little bit like an eagle. Or am I just getting ahead of myself there? Maybe. So next, I want to add a little bit of definition under here and flow down into a bit of a tail. Maybe shorten that so it doesn't hit the hole. So just thinking. I'm going to Carver's glove on my left hand. So I'm going to be holding this. In my right hand, I'm using a Feel number 15 V tool palm gouge. So very slowly, please be incredibly careful if you do this because there's little to, I'm not going to say little, there is no resistance from the timber here. Where are we? Cutting that line there for the tail. Just going to come a little bit deeper. I might just pinch that in the end of my vise. And again, you see that if I do slip, I'm going to be slipping into the bench or into my vise and not into my fingers, which is the way we want it. Bit of shape there. He is clearly a little thick here. So I am going to just removing some of that side. Give him a little definition. There are a lot of magpies outside. Maybe I should have carved a magpie especially on the end of this. But yeah, that's nice that you could hear them. I'm kind of surprised it's playing through. They're nice and loud for me though. Just be glad we haven't got the swarm of corellas flying overhead. That would be drowning me out as well. Just getting a bit more shape around here. And I think just to define the tail, I might just carve some of this bark back into that. Doesn't seem like a very smart cut there. These would be really fun to paint as well, I think. I did see a video where a guy, I don't know who, but just like tapped all the bark the whole way around and it just came off. There's one piece which was pretty cool. Not sure if you need a special timber for that to work well or not. There we go. Now, just using the V tool, I'm going to add a little bit of a wing shape. So I'm just going to draw it with pencil first. Actually, you can follow that edge. I think it's nice having the difference between the bark and the timber as well. Just adds a little bit of interest. Now I'm being so careful. There's the shape of that wing. Might make them cross over, so I might pull that through slightly further. Yeah, you're so right, woodwork learner. The bark is beautiful. It's a shame the little flecks of green I'm getting aren't going to stay. Little bit of wing shape there. Now, just to decorate it, I will add some little notches. Just going to come up here. Generally, as a rule, I only cut myself when people are watching, so I'm being super, super careful today. So we've got that, and now I'm going to just come anchor that and come straight down. And what would be the tail feathers? Can you see the light's a bit bad, isn't it? See some of that patterning we've got. Okay, so now we've pretty much got our bird shape. I think this one's head is a fraction too big, but I won't stuff around making it smaller, but I am going to remove the beak. Not remove the beak, make the beak. Excuse me. So to do that, I'm going to just take this off. Sometimes carving is all about finding the angle. Sorry, you guys can't see that. That works and running with it. I'm just going to shape the very top of that. Just might remove this bark. Might leave the bark on that side. It could be a sort of an eye patch, couldn't it? But that side, it's a bit droopy, so don't know what to do. Only look at it from one side, I think, is the clear answer. Well, hello. There you have it. A very simple, see it better against that background, very simple little bird-shaped whistle. I'm afraid the camera's not really picking up that definition we got for the feathers, but trust me, it is there. These would be heaps of fun if you painted them as well. Let's hope it still works. Of course not. Thank you, Woodwork Loader. Oh, God. It might not be the most functional whistle. I think this is a lesson. This is the first whistle I made. Works fantastically. Can you see how big the gap is above that dowel there versus that one? Go for slightly bigger gap. Shave off more of the dowel than I did on this guy. Kind of works, but not as good. I hope you all really enjoyed that. This little guy's looking cute. And just whilst you're here, this is sort of mainly for Simone because she commented on the rasps. You might be interested in this one. This is a microplane. Simone, this one's rounded. I've been using it a lot I'm carving a heron out of silver wattle here at the moment. So the same timber as this. We had a lot come down in a storm. That's why I'm using it at the moment. But you can see it really, this microplane really cuts well into that. So that's just a little something extra. If anyone's got any questions, please pop them in the chat now because we're just about to finish up. Let's have a look. Oh, thank you, Sean. Oh, please do make some whistles with your kids this weekend. That'll be really fun. And I'd love it if you wanted to post them on Instagram or Facebook and tagged me in them. It's always makes me so happy to see what people are making as a result of these live streams. Makes me feel like I'm less alone in a big shed. So that's good fun. Just to finish up, I'd really appreciate it if everyone could please like this video. That would mean a lot. And if you're not already, please subscribe to the Carbatec YouTube channel. Then you'll know when more videos like this come up. You can find me on Instagram at Olivia O'Connor Carving. On Facebook, search Olivia O'Connor Carving. And again, this little diagram is on my website, oliviaoconnor.com.au. At the very, you got to scroll all the way to the bottom of the classes page. All right, thank you, everyone. You've got more comments? Yeah, definitely do chase up the microplane, Simone. Honestly, I've had that one for years and have hardly used it. But recently I've sort of rediscovered it and I'm really enjoying it and plan on buying others in more profiles. And with one from Roderick, would you please consider spoon carving in a future session? I have thought about this. Roderick. I know a very, very, very talented spoon carver and I'm not as good as them yet. So it's sort of made me a little bit nervous about giving that a shot, but I will add it onto the list of things people are definitely interested in. And maybe it'd be good because we would be sort of learning together that spoon carving there. I've only made a few. Yeah, they've worked, they've been spoons. I'm just not as deft and nimble as a full-time spoon carver. But thank you very much, everybody. I really enjoyed today. I hope you enjoy it. I hope you go and make yourself some little bird whistles. Have a lovely weekend, and I will see you next month. Bye.